You need to start investing. 2026, you need to start investing. So I spoke to my boy Alex. He's going to introduce himself, and we're going to talk today about why investing is so important. So I sent him questions and he's about to answer them.
YOLO, I'm Alex Rose from AlexRozegaming here on YouTube, and I wanted to say a massive thank you to Krish for having me on his channel. We just recently did a collab on my channel, so it only seems fitting that we do one on his as well. Krish has sent me a list of 9 questions on finance and investing, and I'll go ahead and read them off and start answering them for you now. But before I do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Krish, and maybe check out my channel as well. But before I go ahead and start answering these questions, I just wanted to say this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence before you invest any of your money. But now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. Question number 1. Is investing actually risky, or is not investing the real risk? Well, let me put it to you this way. If you don't invest, you're guaranteed to lose money due to inflation. If you do invest, you may lose money. You probably will at some point, but you'll also have the chance to make money. The US stock market averages about 8 to 10% return over the long run. High-yield savings accounts get anywhere from 3 to 5%. And over the last few years, we've seen inflation as high as 7 to 9%. So if you kept your money in a bank, even if it was a high-yield bank, you still would have been losing money. If you weren't outpacing inflation, you were losing money. Question number 2. Why do most people lose money in the stock market despite good advice? I think there are 2 main reasons. The first one being you're overly invested. It's important to have money set aside in a savings account for emergencies, like your tire getting blown out, the AC going out, or maybe a minor medical emergency. You gotta pay those deductibles, assuming you have coverage. So, what happens when you have to make those payments, but you don't have any money in your account? You're gonna be forced to sell your stocks. And if your stocks just so happen to be low when that happens, well, then you're gonna have to eat the L and take the loss on that one. The second being, people invest in things that they're told to invest by friends or family. That's not to say that friends and family can be wrong. What I'm saying is you're outsourcing the responsibility onto someone else. So let's say you invest in a company and then they have a bad earnings report, or their quarterly results were lower, or they even have a scandal at the company. You're not as well familiar with the fundamentals of the company, and you don't really believe in their vision or mission like someone else would. It's for that reason that even if you have good advice, you might end up still taking a loss because you sell out when you should be holding on. Question number 3. Should beginners focus on individual stocks or stick to index funds, and why? Well, for a brand new beginner, index fund was a lot better because of safety, the diversification. Think about it like putting all your eggs in one basket, or a couple of baskets, or spreading your eggs out over dozens to hundreds of baskets. That's the difference between individual stocks and index funds. Now, the risk versus reward, individual stocks have much higher opportunity to go farther, faster, and stronger, but they also have higher opportunity to crash harder and lose money, whereas an index fund or an ETF spreads out that risk and negates some of the downside. Question number 4. Does timing the market really matter compared to time in the market? So we've all heard the old saying, which is time in the market will beat timing the market. And by and large, that's true for most people. But in reality, timing the market, if you have a large lump sum to invest, will beat time in the market. If you were able to start your investing career during 2008 when all the markets were crashing, you would have had gargantuan returns by now. However, most people don't know when the bottom of a crash is or what's going to cause a crash. And unless you have insider information or a crystal ball, you're not really going to be able to time the market perfectly. So time in the market is a much safer strategy for the long run. Question number 5. What mistakes cost new investors the most money in their first 5 years? I like that it specifies the first 5 years because then that shows more of a long-term thought process. You definitely do not want to be a trader trying to buy low, sell high, red, green, now, go, Wolf of Wall Street style mentality. That's for the movies, not for real life. With investing, you're becoming a part owner of a business. You're hitching your horse to their wagon and then hoping the caravan makes it all the way out to Oregon. So, I'd say the biggest mistake that costs you the most money in the first 5 years is trying to make money fast. You should have the slow mindset, the tortoise beats the hare. Instead of thinking how well is the stock going to do in the next few months or few years, you should think the next 5 to 10 years. Will this company, whatever they're doing, be more profitable in the next 5 to 10 years? Will the customer base be increased? Things like that are what you should be thinking of, the long-term big picture plan. Number 6, can you realistically beat the market, or is it a myth sold to investors? Most people will not beat the market. There are multi-million-dollar specialists, analysts with top-of-the-line tools and technology who still fail year after year. Warren Buffett is one of the best investors of all time, and he focuses on value in companies and holding for the long run. If you buy and hold over the course of the long run, as long as you're investing in something, decent, you're not putting all your money into Haktua coin, you're probably going to do better than the average. The average is around 8 to 10%, which is still pretty good. But if you spend all your time focusing on trying to beat it and make more money, you'll end up losing it in the long run by making small mistakes here or there, which will compound. Think of it like your investment is a bar of soap, and the more you handle it, the smaller it gets. There's a saying that Warren Buffett had, which was, imagine you had a punch card with 10 stars in it, and every time you made a financial decision, an investment, a sale, you punch out one of the stars. Well, now you have to be incredibly careful with what you do because you only get 10 choices. You're going to make sure that it's the right choice. Selling at this time, taking a slight $2 loss, doesn't seem that big a deal. But if you sell and take a $2 loss here, later on you take an 8-cent loss, and so on and so forth, it's going to compound and you're going to eat away at your money. Not to mention you're going to have a headache with taxes. Question number 7. How do emotions like fear and greed quietly destroy long-term returns? Ooh, that is a good one, especially because, like I had just mentioned, the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, said to be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. If the market was a perfectly rational place, people wouldn't make very much money. But it's not a rational place. It's full of investors, and investors are people, and people are highly emotional and make mistakes. So, you need to understand a basic level of human psychology. If the news is printing doom and gloom left, right, and center, everyone's going to be panic selling, which means the price is going to go down. But the fundamentals of the business that you're going to invest in may still be the same. In which case, being greedy at that point would probably be useful because you could buy in at a lower price, and then when things balance out and people realize it's not the end of the world, you'll be able to make a much bigger profit. However, if you fall for the media, the news, the hype, you get fearful when everyone else is fearful, you start getting greedy when things seem too good to be true, you're probably going to lose your money. A level of common sense and understanding of human psychology serves so well. Question number 8. What does diversification actually protect you from, and what doesn't it protect you from? Think of diversification like having all your eggs in one basket. If you have them all in one basket and you drop the basket, it cracks, your eggs are destroyed. But if you diversify, or you take your eggs and put them into several different baskets, if one breaks, you still have all the rest of them, so you're safe and covered. It's to limit your downside or mitigate your risk as much as possible. But one mistake that a lot of people make is they put all their eggs into separate baskets that are in the same area. For example, think of something like ExxonMobil and Chevron. Those are both oil and gas companies. They're different companies, you're investing in different things, but at the end of the day, if the oil fields erupt in flames or if the refineries explode, all oil is taking a hit. So then you're still losing money even though you quote-unquote diversified because you didn't put it in the same company. What you need to do is actually diversify via sectors. Allocate whatever percentage of your portion to oil, then to electronics, then to agriculture, then to banking and investing. There are different sectors you can put your money into to diversify it. Or you could buy different ETFs. This ETF focuses on gas and electric. So all the gas and electric companies are in there pre-diversified. This one operates solely on water and wastewater treatment plants. Something along those lines would diversify you and keep your risks low while still giving you access to pretty good things to invest in. Question number 9. At what point does holding cash become a bad financial decision? I think it would be a bad financial decision if you're holding too much cash and you're not holding it in a high-yield savings account. You need an emergency fund because if something happens and you're forced to sell your stocks, you take a loss and you trigger a taxable event. Nobody wants to have to deal with that. Now, it's recommended by the financial experts that you have 3 to 6 months worth of savings saved up. So that could be the good ultimate long-term goal, is to have 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses saved up in a high-yield savings account. But to start out with, maybe just focus on getting $1,000 in your savings account and then slowly building up from there while you invest, because you can do both at the same time. So large amounts of cash sitting around when you don't really need it will lose value. And you should focus on having your money make more money for you. If you don't learn how to make money in your sleep, you'll work till you die. I think that was Bill Gates who said that. And it makes so much sense. You only have 24 hours in a day. Assuming you spend 1/3 of that sleeping and 1/3 working, that gives you 1/3 or 8 hours in which to do everything else. That's not enough time for you to work your way to riches. Saving is not going to get you there. Saving is meant to have that buffer, that safety zone, so that if anything was to happen, you're not immediately out on the street. But once you have that little safety zone built up, then you should deploy your cash like they're troops on a battlefield and have them take every inch of land that you can conquer. But with that, all the questions are wrapped up. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you to Krish one more time for letting me on his channel and putting up with me. Dude has the patience of a saint. Thanks, Krish. I had a blast. I look forward to doing more collaborations in the future. Let's all make 2026 our year. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, honestly, it was jokes having you on my channel. We're going to do more collabs 2026. You already know this channel's popping. I really appreciate the 2,000 people that have subscribed to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this investment advice has helped you guys so we can all make money together.